If I own a property, why should I think about renting it as a flexible term instead of like longer term contract?
Imagine like your standard apartment in Cyprus. If something breaks, you're calling your landlord, he's not responding.
And where do you guys fit into the equation then?
So we are securing long contracts from landlords, furnishing apartments, and then offering them.
Demetris Papadopoulos, the co-founder of Square One and Moving Doors. He is a brilliant real estate analyst and expert who has rapidly transformed the flexible living scene for tenants and landlords, starting from Cyprus and expanding across Europe and even Dubai.
Hello. Welcome to another episode of Made in Cyprus, big business story from a tiny island. And today with me, we have Demetris Papadopoulos, founder of Moving Doors. Welcome to the show, man.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. I know yet you are a really busy man.
Quite a bit.
We'll do it short and snappy. We'll make as most as possible. So, Demetris, I want to go right into the topic. We will be discussing real estate. And more specifically, flexible living, flexible accommodation. Tell me a bit more, what does it really mean, flexible living?
Mm-hmm. So the definition of flexible living, mid-term accommodation is anything from a month to 1 year. So short-term is defined as less than 30 days. Mid to long-term is defined as 1 month to 12 months. And then from a yearly contract onwards is a long-term contract. Yeah. So anything between 1 month to 12 months.
And what's the difference for the landlord, let's say, in a contract with flexible, so shorter term versus longer term?
What do you mean exactly?
So why, if I own a property, why should I, think about renting it as a flexible term instead of like a longer term contract?
First of all, to rent it as a flexible term, you need to have a complete offering. So it needs to be fully furnished, fully equipped. Usually you need to have like connected utilities, internet, and you usually need to offer some services to your tenants, such as cleaning, laundry, some basic services. Yeah. In Europe, where we have a more developed serviced accommodation market, usually in platforms such as Nest Peak, where these are like marketplaces for mid to long-term rentals, you can get basically higher yields with less hassle comparing to short-term. Imagine in Airbnb, you have bookings of 3 days, 5 days, a week. Yeah. So imagine like the turnover of bookings you have. You might have 4 different tenants in a month. So the operational hassle and the expenses.
It's quite a lot. Cleaning, managing, check-in, check-out, wear and tear.
So effectively, you have much more hassle, more operational expenses, and depending on the location, yields might be even higher with serviced accommodation. Yeah. I mean, if we're comparing Paphos to Limassol, Paphos is more like, especially in the summer, short-term can make money, but in the winter, where you have more seasonal locations like Paphos, serviced apartments and mid to long-term accommodation might be a better option to secure a more steady income and a higher yield. Yeah,
and where do you guys fit into that equation then?
So our value proposition is basically bridging the gap between landlords and tenants. Yeah. So what landlords usually want is a solid tenant, credible tenant, longer-term contract, ideally 3, 4, 5 years. They don't want the hassle of managing a property. They're not interior designers, so they don't want to hire an interior designer. They don't want to furnish the apartment. So, and on the other side, tenants usually they need furniture, they need connected utilities, they need instant Wi-Fi, they need some sort of support, not just cleaning, but if something breaks. Imagine like your standard apartment in Cyprus. If something breaks, you're calling your landlord, he's not responding. And then arranging a cleaning or trying to fix your air conditioning, So anything related to maintenance, cleaning on the tenant side. So what Moving Doors is doing is bridging the gap between the two. So we are securing long contracts from landlords, furnishing apartments, and then offering them from a month to 12 months with some ancillary services such as cleaning and laundry.
Yeah, you take care of everything, right?
We take care of everything.
And what is interesting is the furnishing part as well, because I remember when we were starting to chat at the beginning, another value added in there is actually making those apartments more valuable, right? And able to demand a higher rent as well. Correct. And how does that work?
So what we usually do is that we lease unfurnished apartments.
Yeah. Any type? Is there any specific one that you're looking for?
Usually up to 15 years old apartments or freshly renovated apartments, let's say. We prefer new buildings.
Yeah, so less risk from your side.
Correct. And then we don't just furnish, we usually install curtains, we paint, lighting, we have professional interior designers, we have standardized the interior design process. So we have certain set of furniture that we use. We do mix and match of these different sorts of.
Yeah. So operationally it's less
correct. And
painful.
we have some sort of standardized interior design that is more of a signature look for.
Yeah. So there is the moving door style kind of. Yeah.
Correct. And besides that, we in any moving doors apartment you can find utensils, toilet paper.
Fit for living from
exactly.
day zero.
Basically, you can check in and live for a week without even going to the supermarket.
Yeah, interesting.
That's the whole idea. So that's a huge convenience, especially for people who don't have much time.
Yeah. Who are those people then? Like who's your ideal target audience, especially for Cyprus?
When I came back from London, I was looking to rent an apartment. I'm a convenience user. So personally, I'm a person who I'm willing to pay to save time. I value my time a lot because I was busy. So our ideal customer is someone who is working for 80% of our employees work for tech companies. Yeah. Mostly in Limassol and Paphos. They're foreigners, most of them Russians, Ukrainians, Israeli. And they value convenience, so they don't want to...
They want to get it sorted and done, right?
Correct. They don't want to rent an apartment, start furnishing it. They don't have time for that. Yeah. Plus, they like the standardization of the furniture. They like the fact that they have connected utilities, connected internet, and all the FF&E. So the, as I said, the utensils, the towers, the bed linens, the coffee machines, the Bluetooth speakers.
Yeah, everything sorted.
Exactly. Plus, the ease of use of the whole booking experience and the tenant portal. So the whole experience of the user is online. You can book online, you can pay online, you can request cleaning, any maintenance. So the whole process and the management of the apartment is fully digitized.
Yeah. And how did you get to this idea then? What was the origin story for Moving Doors?
So the idea started in China in 2011 by Zerum. Okay. And then when I came back from London, I was just searching the space. I liked the space a lot because I was like, okay, can you extract so much value by, spending so little money, adding just furniture and extract so much value? And I was intrigued by the idea. And then I was searching the market and I saw Zerum that operated at the time 1 million apartments. It's a huge conglomerate backed by SoftBank. Yeah. Then I saw in 2017, I saw Blue Ground that at the time was operating something like 2,000 apartments, Lime Home, and I researched lots of companies in the space. So I thought, okay, Cyprus is a nice market, lots of foreigners, and I saw the value proposition in this business model. So I was like, okay, maybe I can apply something similar in the local market. So I took bits and pieces from different companies, and then I came up with. I didn't came up, to be honest. It was an existing business model. I just localized an existing business model.
Yeah, in Cyprus.
And it's not. It's not rocket science. What we do it's a fairly simple business model, but very operationally heavy. Yeah. So you need technology. You need standard operating procedures, technology. It's easy to start, but it's very hard to scale because you have lots of operation, lots of moving pieces. It's very high volume and low margin business, so you need to be a very good operator to make it in this business.
But you guys scaled pretty fast.
We did scale pretty fast.
Because how many apartments do you have now?
Now we have around 350, and we have a pipeline of an additional 100. So I think we will close the year with around 450 units, both in Cyprus and Dubai. So we were lucky in the sense that we got timing right. We started early 2022, just before the war. So we started securing units at reasonable prices from landlords, and then the war happened.
Yeah, prices went up, and you guys were already set up.
We structured the cash flow in the way that allowed us to scale fast. So we paid monthly, and then we had tenants paying us yearly upfront, and then we used that to scale quickly.
Really interesting.
So it was a favorable timing, to be honest.
Yeah.
So luck was a big part of it. For sure.
How did you secure those first properties then? Like before you had, the brand and the marketing in place?
Good point. Jan is my co-founder. He still is one of the partners of Chesterton's. It's a big franchise, real estate agent franchise in UK. So he got lots of access to landlords through the network of Chesterton's. I was involved through Square One, a property development company I started back in 2016-17. I was involved in real estate, so I knew lots of people as well.
Yeah.
And we started cold calling.
So you're a professional in the network. Or you started actually calling people?
No, of course, yeah. We started bazaraki.com, cold calling.
Listing of private listings, yeah?
Yeah. I went through Bazaraki, unfurnished apartments, studio, 1 bed, 2 bedroom, Limassol, Paphos, and we started calling people. Hi, we are from this company called at the time Staycaee.com.
Yeah.
And we're interested to rent your apartment for 3 years. We started actually from 5 years.
Interesting.
And the two types of landlords we had at the beginning was either old people that didn't want the hassle. So the problem we were solving at the beginning was that, I'm 80 years old, I have lots of properties, but I don't want to manage them.
Take it off my hands.
5 years long lease, take it off my hand,
Brilliant.
And the other value proposition was foreign investors investing in Cyprus. So we had a lot of Israelis and Russians who had properties here, but they were not in Cyprus to manage them.
Yeah.
And they were tired with, real estate agents. Were not professional. They were not paying on time. Yeah. They were overcharging for what they were offering in terms of service. So it was a good solution, and it is a very good solution for landlords. We had traction from the beginning, from the get-go. Like we reached 100 units in the first year.
And that was mostly cold calling, reaching out to people.
Cold calling, yeah. It was me and Yannis cold calling people, yeah.
Yeah, really cool.
Yeah.
So
we were 3 people for the first year, basically.
Yeah, yes.
We reached 100 units, just me, Yannis, and our first interior designer, Aphrodite.
Yeah, it's interesting. So there was a problem. People were bored with this painful operational problem of manually having to deal with it, and then they were very receptive. And I guess you offering long-term rental contract, you could also negotiate on the price a bit better, right?
Correct.
But you're still placing a bet. You're taking it, and then you need to find people to place
Either
it.
you have people in or not, you have to pay the rent.
So finding the landlord was cold calling, and finding the tenants. How did you get the first people in?
Finding the tenants again was bazaraki.com.
Yeah.
So
listing this time though.
These portals, these marketplaces have the best SEO.
Yeah.
So anyone who is looking to rent an apartment is either going to search on Google and find bazaraki.com.
Because you guys are still listing through there, isn't it?
Yeah. I think we're the biggest client of bazaraki.com in Cyprus. We are using it because, most of our customers are either going to come directly on our website. That's about 35% now.
That's not bad.
Organic.
Not bad.
Yes, that's good. But after lots of work in terms of like SEO and Google Ads.
Of course.
And then, when we didn't have a brand, we just listed on Bazaraki.
Yeah.
It's the easy way to get traffic.
And you personally, were you born and raised in real estate, or you found yourself into it?
Born and raised, I wouldn't say so. My dad is an architect.
Yeah.
Not born and raised. I wanted to be a civil engineer since I was 12 years old. I don't know why. I think because most people that were civil engineers back at the time were wealthy. So
I can imagine you at school. What do you want to be? Firefighter. What do you want to be? Police officer. Civil engineer.
I liked math and physics. So everyone at the time in Cyprus, everyone would study civil engineering. If you are good in maths and physics, you need to study civil engineering. There
have been some waves, right? There has been that civil engineer wave, then there has been accounting wave, then there has been low wave, and now it's IT.
Now it's IT,
obviously,
which is late, by the way.
We are a bit late.
My generation should have studied software engineering.
Yeah, but I but it was not so understandable. Now it's much easier to understand the job, the demand, and like in Cyprus, the demand is
everywhere, not just in Cyprus. So I studied civil engineering in Athens. Then I went to the UK at CAS Business School. I did a master's in real estate finance.
Yeah.
I worked in UK for a real estate developer as an analyst. So I was evaluating the acquisitions.
Yeah, so you've been in real estate for
Then I worked for Pavlos.
Yeah.
For Resolute Asset Management, Pavlos was my boss for a while, not much, 6 months. And then I started my own things in real estate development. I started this company called Square One. Now it's quite big, but my brother is in charge and Andon is my partner. It's a real estate development company, mostly based in Limassol. We have some projects in Paphos as well and in London. But since 2022, I'm focused in moving doors. We started the company with Yannis, and now it's been 2.5 years. Yeah.
And tell me about the original name and the rebrand as well, because you originally started with Staycaee.com, and then it's 2.5 years, right? So kind of almost like halfway from there, you decided that you had to change. Yeah. So tell me a bit about that.
Sure. The idea actually started. The business, not the idea. The business started as short term. So the first building we rented was in Paphos, and then one apartment in Limassol. Basically, Yannis secured the building in Paphos through his agency, and we started operating it on Airbnb.
And that was kind of like the testing phase.
It was the testing phase. Yeah, we weren't sure. Maybe this makes more margins, maybe mid to long term. So we were like, okay, we were assessing different things. And we're like, okay, what are we going to name the company? And we're like, okay, staycation is a nice theme. Vacation, staycation, okay. And then we arrived at Staycaee with a double E at the end because we couldn't find a domain with Y.
Yeah.
We named the company Staycaee for a year and a half. And then we got feedback from lots of people that they couldn't pronounce it. Basically, the most common comment that it was that people couldn't pronounce it. Some people were calling it Staycaee, some people were calling it Staycaee. So
it was hard to pronounce and hard to remember.
It was very hard to pronounce, hard to remember. So we took the decision to rebrand. And I don't remember how we met, and I came to you for the rebrand. And that was like 8-10 months ago.
Yeah, almost more or less. Yeah, mid of your journey. And what was it challenging to decide to rebrand, or you think it was early enough that
I think it was early enough. We didn't have any brand equity. It was easy decision at the time.
No.
Yeah. If it was now, maybe it was going to be a harder decision. But at the time, I think it was an easy decision.
No, because it was early enough. Yeah, because I think as soon as you start building equity and then SEO, backlinks, and everything, it becomes increasingly harder. And since then, quite a lot of things happened. And
correct. Few months after the rebranding, we finalized our seed funding round. Yeah. We raised about 1.2 million euros.
Oh, it's not bad for a seed, huh?
Yeah, but we had traction at the time. I mean, we closed 2022 with 1 million revenue, and then 3.7 million revenue last year. So we had traction.
You had a number to back it up.
Exactly, plus growth. And the team was not small. We were like 20 people. So it was relatively easy. Besides being in Cyprus, which is always a big hurdle,
for getting the investment,
for getting money, because we raised money from institutional funds, mostly based in Greece. Being in Cyprus is always a big, it's a big hurdle for raising money generally.
So the money,
because it's a small market, and you need to prove yourself that you can scale it internationally. Yeah. Because these guys are giving you money to scale the business internationally. Yeah. And you haven't proven that you can scale internationally.
Yeah.
And the market in Cyprus is very small. So people are taking a big risk betting on you. Because
that's the story of any startup in Cyprus, right? Doesn't matter if you're successful or not. In Cyprus, you already need to have an expansion plan out of the island. Because from the investment, from the VC point of view, it's too small of a market for the risk, right?
And to be honest, not many local startups have expanded successfully internationally. Yeah. Besides of like the FX people.
Why do you think so?
Why? I think two main things. Talent pool That's number one. So we don't
being able to replicate it out of Cyprus or vice versa?
No, I think why not many local startups having expanded abroad? I think one is it's hard to recruit good people at the beginning, so you're able to scale abroad.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two is having enough aggressive investors, so you don't have lots of VCs to back you. So basically in Cyprus, you need to have big margins.
Yeah.
If you have small margins as a business, it's very hard to scale in Cyprus because either you can raise money or you have big margins to fund your expansion.
Yeah, it's interesting, and you're not the first one to say that. Like investors in Cyprus tend to be very cautious. Right?
Yeah,
so you need to have a fully proven product, which
Correct.
defeats the point of a startup.
Correct. I mean, if you go in, I was discussing, we're part of Endeavor.
Yeah.
It's an accelerator it's a global network of startups. It's a very nice network, very useful network. And we went in London to meet with some other guys, including the founder of Harbor Lab. It was a very nice meetup. And I met with one lady that they had a startup, ESG related, something about reducing the energy bills of commercial buildings. And they have one client, JLL. And they have something like 5,000 euro revenue per month. They're testing their idea, and they raised 3 million euros at 18 million post-money valuation in 3 months with a concept,
And this is now?
And this is now, but in London.
Interesting.
So, and the reason is because she's based in London. Nothing more than that. It's not even the quality of the people. It's just because of the fact that she's based in London.
Yeah.
And there is lots of funds, there is competition. It's a bigger market. So even if she stays in UK, it's still a big market.
They're more willing to risk it also because they have more opportunity.
And more opportunity and more money.
Yeah.
I mean, a sizable VC in Greece, they have 50 million. I mean, 50 million for a UK fund is nothing,
Yeah.
So it's a numbers game as well.
Yeah. So you rebranded to Moving Doors. You got your 1.3 million in seed. What else happened in there?
So we secured the 1.2 million. We repaid some debts we had because we scaled very fast, so we had a lot of liabilities. We repaid some overdrafts, whatever. We used some money to fund inventory for new pipeline units, and then we also started expanding in Dubai.
Yeah.
Very tough market, super competitive, super seasonal.
And how did you choose Dubai then?
Why?
Was that tough?
Dubai ticks all the boxes in terms of we had 20 factors, 20 variables to decide in which cities we're going to expand. And Dubai seemed like a very good market.
Which was the second city?
We had many cities. I think now opportunity exists in Eastern Europe, like Czech Republic, Poland.
Growing markets, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, our business model, because it's effectively rental arbitrage. So we capture our revenue is the difference between what we pay and what we pay.
Correct.
So the more the competition is in any arbitrage model,
more you can stretch that difference.
Exactly. The less competition, the more the gross profit margin of our company. So in Cyprus, we were lucky in the sense that yes, it's a small market, but on the other hand, we don't have competition.
Yeah.
So you can extract. If you don't have competition, your margins are big. The more the competition, the less your margin. So we were lucky in the sense that the first 2 years we didn't have competition, so we were the first mover in the market. And then when you have that first mover advantage, you can build equity, brand equity, and then people know you, and then you can retain that.
There is competition now in Cyprus?
There is competition from short-term operators, like people who lease long-term and then put it on Airbnb.
Privates or agencies?
And companies as well. There is a couple of companies doing that now, and we compete on unit acquisition, not on the end user. On the end user, I think we are the only ones still in Cyprus.
So Dubai looked, when it is obviously an attractive market for you.
It is a good market. The problem with Dubai is that it's super competitive and super seasonal. Think about it that in summer, now in Dubai, rents dropped 50% compared to what?
50
compared to the winter pricing.
Because it's too hot.
Yeah. People move out of Dubai in the summer. So you have this migration in the summer and then rents drop, and then in September onwards they go up again.
Interesting. Because a lot of the people that live in Dubai, they're not originally from the Emirates, right?
They're 92% are international.
Yeah, so they don't have the toughness to resist the heat, isn't
Exactly.
it? So they say, nah, fuck it, I'm out of here.
So imagine if you have a fixed lease expense every year, and then you have a seasonal market like this.
Nah.
It's very hard to retain a certain profitability.
Nah.
That's one.
And that's interesting for you, or it's complex to solve?
It's very hard.
No, even for flexible, yeah.
Yeah, it's very hard. And the other thing is that Blue Ground has 1,000 units there, then Silk House has another 400 units there.
Yeah.
So imagine in every time we try to acquire a unit, we have another 4 people bidding for that unit. So the margin goes down. So for all these reasons, Dubai is quite capital intensive because you need to prepay either quarterly or yearly upfront. That's the market there. There is lots of competition and it's seasonal. Now, can you make money there? You can, but you need scale and lots of money to fund it.
Yeah.
So whether it was a good decision or not, I think we could have made a better decision. But it's still a market we can make money in the long run.
In terms of actually not doing Dubai or doing Dubai differently in terms of better decision?
Now we're changing a bit the model in Dubai. We're targeting like more high-end units, and we're changing the business model.
So to have less competition in the bidding process.
Yes,
perhaps.
and more revenue sharing, so we don't have the risk of the downside.
Yeah.
We don't do rental arbitrage. We just manage units, and we get a percentage of the revenue.
Yeah. Interesting. It's an interesting learning journey then, right?
It
so
is,
I think that's why probably you're looking to East Europe, right?
It was one of the big mistakes we did in choosing Dubai. It was one of the big mistakes because in our business model, as I said before, the main things to look for is, are rents nominally high enough? So we cannot go to certain markets because rents are very low nominally.
Yeah.
And imagine in any 2-bedroom apartment, we invest around 10,000 euros. Either that's in Dubai, either that's in Limassol, wherever it is in the planet, you invest around 10,000 euros. So imagine if you're going in a place where rents are very low and you make 40% gross profit.
No.
In order to get your money back, it takes you longer if rents are nominally lower.
Yeah, because you're signing a long contract lease, you're renovating the place, so you're going under really quickly, basically.
Correct.
with each new property.
So we need to go in expensive markets.
Yeah.
So that's why Limassol was a good market for us, because if we make 40% on 2,000 euro, that's like 800 euros per month per unit.
And it's East Europe becoming expensive? That's why you guys are looking at?
East Europe, Prague and Warsaw, for instance, are becoming expensive. So an average 2-bedroom apartment in a good location in Prague is something like 2,000 euros a month. Yeah. So that ticks the box. Yeah. And there is not, we don't have a big competitor there. Yeah. So Prague, for instance, is the market we're looking for now to examine after the Series A. Athens is also one of the markets we're looking.
Which is also the Greece is the average Cypriot startup expansion.
Correct. Yeah. Plus, we have a person there that is very experienced, and he's probably going to take over the expansion in Greece. He's going to be like the local guy there. And I think we have a competitive edge because of this guy there. So we're looking to expand after the Series A in Athens, Prague, and Warsaw.
And in terms of team, is that how you will do it? Because I know Jan your co-founder is in Dubai. Mm-hmm. You are in here. Someone else will be in Greece. So you're always having the same strategy to have a key player present full time.
Yeah, at least at the beginning. At least like the first 6 months until we have the first apartments rolling and we see that all the processes are in place and everything is running smoothly. Yeah.
And in terms of like interior design and furniture and everything, you will have to rebuild the operation locally, I guess, right?
We have centralized certain functions in the company, such as technology. Yorgos is the lead. Yeah. He has his team based in Cyprus. Marketing is also based in Cyprus. Yeah. Supply
and
chain.
That's expandable, yeah.
Yeah, and supply chain is, we have purchasing managers in Cyprus and we're importing mainly from Poland.
Okay.
So
actually going to Prague will make that Poland trip even easier. So it's probably even more affordable.
So certain things are centralized, and then locally we have, when we expand, we have a general manager, business development, and operations guy. Yeah. So we launch a new city just with 3 people. Yeah. And then this team has the support of the local team in Cyprus.
Yeah, makes sense. And do you see Cyprus becoming your minority market at some point, or
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was still good sandbox testing ground, but then the real growth you're seeing it coming from
I think Cyprus can be a sizable market for us. I think the maturity state is around 2,000 units.
Yeah.
And we didn't even touch Nicosia and Larnaca. We barely touched it. We have 10 units.
Yeah. So making the math, you have 350 in between two cities, Larnaca and Nicosia, you get to that sizable market.
Correct. And even now in Limassol we have 250 units. That's not much.
Yeah. And staying local, because you've been in this market from a while before with Pavlos, then with Square One, now with that, what did change from where you start? And where do you think it's gonna go
in terms of
the real estate market? What are the biggest changes you saw?
Last year, if we're talking about the real estate in general, I saw shifting demand from high-end luxury to more investment-oriented product. So for real estate developers, I think things are gonna shift towards away from luxury near Masoya, and smaller units, more affordable for the local population to live in, and selling those units to investors with a good yield. So I think the market is going to become more focused towards the investment side, and not the luxury high-end.
Yeah, because there is a gap now as well in
because the Russians left basically.
Yeah.
What's happening with the AML now? Banks don't allow money from Russians to come in. And therefore, the high end of the market now has an issue.
Yeah.
And all the developers that they were targeting and they were building product for that segment of the market, they all have issues now.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to go towards a more investment product and for locals as well. The local market is still quite strong now.
And like in a city like Limassol, do you see the rent stopping at some point, or?
From what I see, look, what we had, it was restricted supply for many years because all the developers, we had the passport scheme, so everyone was building super high-end buildings and no one was looking at the local market.
Servicing the normal people.
Exactly. But when I say local market, I don't mean just Cypriots. I mean like the local market.
Normal
Russian
houses.
Locals, anyone who lives and works in Cyprus. So everyone was building for the high end. The rest of the market was undersupplied. Rent spiked. The average two-bedroom apartment we were renting at some point was €2,500. Now the market normalized. So our average two-bedroom apartment now is around 2,000, 2,100. So there is a drop of 20% since compared to the peak, which I think is more normal because we have more supply coming into the market, and at the same time, demand slightly dropped. But I think in the long run, Cyprus is a nice place for companies to relocate and people to work and live in.
Yeah.
And I definitely think in the long run, especially for Limassol, is definitely going to become a hub for companies to relocate. And I see companies. I was discussing with someone yesterday. I hear from many people that companies are still relocating.
Yeah.
This headquartering scheme is working. The tax benefits
But you can see just by walking in Limassol, right?
Exactly.
It became a melting pot. It's so diverse. And I also talked to a few of the big companies taking the problem on themselves and actually investing in property, real estate, developing their own furniture as well to help the relocation efforts as well.
Just Exnes is going to build around 5,000 units the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Because they understand that there is a massive undersupply.
Yeah. And what do you guys have in the pipeline? What future and what news you
have? Lots of things in the pipeline. One is we are eyeing an acquisition in Athens.
Bravo, congrats.
Nothing concrete yet. We are considering to acquire a company in Athens.
What will that bring in terms of
lots of units in Athens.
Okay. So it's someone that already has the connective tissue of units, yeah.
Correct. Some operational local expertise.
Yeah.
Bottom line, so that company is profitable already, so that's going to give us profitability. We're going to become a group with lots of units, with around 800 units very fast. So it's an inorganic way to grow, but we can grow fast in that way. And it will help us also towards our Series A. So one thing is that
Brilliant.
acquisition, and another thing is We're starting now to get interest for our Series A. We are considering to raise around 5 million, and that will help us grow organically in Athens, Poland, and Czech Republic.
Fantastic.
So yeah, we are considering around 12 million raise for the next year.
Congratulations! So truly global brand, truly
Let's
big
see.
story from
Let's
a small
see.
island. Yeah.
Let's see. That's the plan. Let's see how it goes.
It will go fine. Yeah. I wish you all the best with that.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very
Demetris,
much.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll see you on the next episode then.